today I'm trying to solidify this idea of paying down debts to yourself. I talked a little bit about this wall and this series that I'm doing over on Instagram called Unfinished Business. And this has kind of been a project. I talked about it in a previous live stream for ADHD hacks and kind of how being able to visualize all your open tabs at once and kind of just have this in your face reminder of things that you need to work on has been helpful. But today I wanted to compare it to accumulating debt because I was trying to think of what this felt like, and the reason that it's been so difficult to move past is because these are all unfinished things that you want to do, right? And it's not like it's a bucket list of idealistic things that you want to do before you die. It's a list of creative projects that you want to do, or even like life maintenance tasks, like things that need to get done or things that would be good for the house. And I just feel like things can really start to accumulate, and especially when you don't make progress on them, things just become harder and harder because the to-do list keeps getting so long. There's a backlog. And I like the debt comparison because just like if we're talking about money debts, not only do you have debt that you have to pay off, you're of course still also in your current reality having to buy new things all the time, right? So you still need food, you still need to pay your rent or your mortgage, you still need um, new clothes, whatever it is, and you're gonna have to keep buying things. So if you can't afford those as well, then it goes back to the debt. If you're not paying down the debt, interest is going to accumulate and your debt keeps getting bigger. So it's just this like snowball of a problem. And I feel the same way for these creative ideas because you have a certain amount of debt already in existence of things that you want to do. But then at the same time, you also have new ideas that are coming in and new creative projects that you want to try. And so the debt keeps getting bigger and there's just this like massive backlog. And so I was trying to like figure out a way to express the concept that way. And I think that's what I mean. It's just like having a debt to yourself. You owe it to yourself to get through these creative projects. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. Um, but yeah, I said sometimes it's hard to buy the now things when you're drowning in past debt. So this is what it feels like. These are ideas, things I wanted to do. Many of them are creative projects that didn't happen, but I still want to happen. And that's why, again, I like this metaphor of like debt feeling like heavy, like it's a burden. People are drowning in debt. It's a mountain of debt. Like there's just so many things over the years, because I've got like all kinds of script ideas up here, or like I said, house projects. One was painting my wall purple, which I finally got around to, but I've heard my mom kind of have this problem as well, like growing up, where it's like, oh, we've got a fence in the yard and we've got to tackle that. Like hers are all like big house projects kind of thing, right? So I do wonder how you guys feel about like, do you just have debts that accumulate, or do you are you able to like have a system where you can more easily tackle these to-dos? Because I also feel like at a certain point, because it's not financial debt, you are allowed to say, oh, okay, this project doesn't serve me anymore, or it's not a priority, so you don't have to get overwhelmed by it. But these are all still things I want to do. So I personally really struggle with prioritizing. But I do think kind of like just actual financial debt as well, people have different approaches to how you pay down the debt. Because some people say you should pay down the smallest things first, which is kind of what I tried to do here. I did some to-dos that were only going to take a couple of minutes or a couple of hours and try to get those things off the wall as quickly as possible so I could like see the momentum. Some people say you should take the biggest debt and try to pay it down so that you're having to pay less on interest. Um, I'm not really sure the metaphor when it comes to this kind of thing because, yeah, how would you prioritize it? I don't actually think going after the smallest things was the best because they're not the things that move the needle. And so when it comes to big creative project, even though it will take more time and more energy and you can't just get through it in a day, I still think it's important that you're focusing on ones that move the needle. Um, and yeah, so I think this is just the way that I can kind of visualize feeling behind in life. I know that even when I got to my 20s, maybe it's like post school, a lot of people keep talking about how they feel behind. And there's like, it's kind of weird that I haven't met anybody really who feels caught up, you know? Um, I hear a lot about that on the internet, so I'd love to know if you agree. But it's very like you have to hit all these milestones or make this amount of money, and we're at a time in society where most people can't afford homes. A lot of people are struggling to just pay bills and get groceries. And so there's this kind of like feeling behind, but not just financially. A lot of people aren't where they want to be in their careers, aren't where they want to be with their families. And then when it comes to like this, not where you want to be creatively fulfilled. Because I have a lot of creative friends here in Los Angeles, and the big kind of opportunity cost is you have to have a job to pay the bills, and then you have to find time and energy to do the creative work. And so I think a lot of people aren't where they want to be creatively because that creativity doesn't yet pay their bills. So it's trying to find that balance. And so yeah, I have a note here that's like running out of space on my phone. I am constantly, this is why you can't see it in this framing. I have inbox zero. Um, my Google is constantly running out of storage. My phone is constantly running out of storage. My hard drives are always out of storage. And it's just a constant battle where I have to figure out a different place to move pictures and videos, delete them from this thing so that I can do new things. That's kind of what this feels like for paying down your creative debt because I find it really difficult. Like I have new ideas all the time, but I find it really difficult to move on to the next thing when I know I have 200 other things that I was supposed to do first, is kind of what it feels like. Um, so, yeah, I just had that note. And then, okay, I said this is where like the pervasive overuse and overreach of social media really gets me down. Because if you're stuck scrolling, you don't have the time or energy to work on your goals. And when you don't address your goals, you feel guilty and avoid more by scrolling. So it becomes this like vicious cycle. Um, but everything has an opportunity cost. So, like I was saying with the creatives and the jobs, if you have a day job, that's going to be less time to work on your creative stuff. If you scroll on social media, that's less time to work on your creative stuff. But also, if you're working on your creative stuff, that's less time to hang out with your friends and family. If you go to the gym, that's great for your health, but it's also less time to do other things. Like everything has a trade off. It doesn't mean it's positive or negative. That's just there's an inherent opportunity cost within every single decision that you make. And sometimes I wonder if part of the overwhelm is because we feel like we can do anything. so, figuring out the priority really can be tricky. So right now I have it all set out with these are all my open loops on my open tabs, things that need to get done that are my debts to myself. I'd love to hear if that metaphor, by the way, resonates, but um, yeah, that's just what I feel, having debts to yourself. So hopefully we can figure out a way to pay these down and yeah. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining me today. Quick one, but I'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? Have a good one.